He had a big part in what happened with Kamala, but I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he was not a fan of hers very much at that point.
Do you believe Vice President Harris would certify your election victory if you win?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead.
How are you planning to vote on Florida's abortion referendum?
On what? Well, I'm going to announce that. I'm going to actually have a press conference on that at some point in the near future, so I don't want to tell you now. But Florida does have a vote coming up on that, and I think probably the vote will go in a little more liberal way than people thought. But I'll be announcing that at the appropriate time. Please.
I caught the end of this shit. I've been doing shit all day. I've been so busy, I didn't even know he was talking this shit.
We gave
this week.
tremendous for child care and all of that. No, our tax cuts, which are the biggest in history, our tax cuts are coming due, as you know, very soon. And if the Democrats don't renew them or make it impossible to renew because it's pretty close in terms of vote.
Look at all these fucking dweebs in the chat, these
it's
Democrats.
the equivalent of having a 4 times tax increase from what you have right now, and it'll destroy the economy. I think they're under tremendous pressure to do it. I've never seen, all my life I grow up and I watch politics, and I used to be on the other side of politics first, and then I run for office. But in all the years of studying politics, I've never seen people get elected by saying, we're going to give you a tax increase. These guys get up, think of it. We're going to give you no security. We're going to give you a weak military. We're going to give you no walls, no borders, no anything. All these things they're doing. I mean, the transgender became such a big thing. But they do all of these things, but they always say, we're going to give you a tax increase. I never heard anybody campaign on a tax increase. A politician has always said, I will cut taxes. I'll give you one example, Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. I am going to leave Social Security. I'm not raising the years. I'm not raising the age. I will be saving Social Security, and I'm going to work it out that there's no tax on Social Security for seniors. I'm also doing no tax on tips. No tax on tips. So waiters, waitresses, caddies, people that drive cars, people that get tips who have been harassed by this government, we're going to have no tax on tips. That's a big thing. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sure. Because other people have done far bigger things than Steve Bannon. Sure, it's politically motivated. I think it's a horrible thing they did. Look, they've weaponized government against me. Look at the Florida case. It was a totally weaponized case. All of these cases, by the way, the New York cases are totally controlled out of the Department of Justice. They sent their top person to the various places. They went to the AG's office, got that one going. Then he went to the DA's office, got that one going, ran through it. No, this is all politics, and it's a disgrace. Never happened in this country. It's very common that it happens, but not in our country. It happens in banana republics and third world countries, and that's what we're becoming. We have no borders.
Facts.
We have bad voting regulations. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have problems. France learned that lesson. France had all mail-in voting, and they went back to paper ballots, voter identification, voter ID. They went back to a normal system, one-day voting. They don't want to be around, voting for 64 days. And look, the election, I keep talking about November 5th, but the election really starts on September 6th. That's when it starts because it's early voting. We should have one-day voting. We should have paper ballots. We should have voter ID, and we should have proof of citizenship. Please. No, the gentleman in back. For who? You're going to have to talk louder, sir.
Do you support continuation of tax credits for EVs? And secondly, what sort of political or policy advice does Elon Musk give you?
Elon is a very different kind of a guy. He's a very big believer in the country, but he's very worried about the country. He's very worried about the country. And I don't know if it's good for him politically to have supported me, although I think we have a vast majority of this country does support me. But Elon, more than almost anybody I know, I mean, he loves this country. He loves the concept of the country. But like me, he says this country is in big trouble. It's in tremendous danger. Okay, please.
Polls suggest overwhelmingly that Americans trust you more than Kamala Harris to fix the U.S. economy.
I like this guy.
Good questions.
What message do you have to Americans who are struggling to pay for everyday
Yeah.
groceries, rent?
The polls have suggested. There are some polls that say we're going to win in a landslide. People are voting with their stomachs, meaning they're going to the grocery store. They're paying 50, 60, 70% more for food than they did just a couple of years ago. Look at what's happened to energy. Look at what's happened not only to their cars, where gasoline's gone from $1.87, and we had moments when it was below that, but it's gone from $1.87 to $5, $6, and $7. And they take the strategic national reserves and they take it out, even though it's peanuts compared, it doesn't last long. But they're virtually empty now. We've never had it this low. And he's using that to keep the gasoline prices as low as possible. He's sucked all of the oil out, essentially the gasoline, to keep the price down a little bit, and it's had very little impact. But you know what? We have no strategic national reserves now. He's emptied it. It's almost empty. It's never been this low. And I had it at a good level, and I would have had it more if the Democrats would have approved the deal. You know, I had a deal to buy it at $22 a barrel, and now it's going to be close to 100 pretty soon, my opinion. And the Democrats didn't want to do that, but we bought a lot anyway.
And that is why we need a businessman running the country. This shit is a business.
National reserves, the strategic national reserves, is, as you know very well, because you cover it. But what they've done is incredible. They've just, for the sake of getting some votes, for the sake of having gasoline, you know, that's meant for wars. It's meant for, like, tragedy. It's not meant for the sake of having gasoline. You know, that's meant for wars. It's meant for, like,
Fox News better get that shit right.
It's
they
not
got too
meant to
much money for this.
a gasoline price down so that somebody can vote for Biden, or in this case, Kamala, who, by the way, is worse than Biden. And she's actually not as smart. Okay? She's actually not as smart. That's hard to believe, isn't it? Yeah, please. Okay.
There are other things the federal government could do, not just a ban. Would you direct your FDA, for example, to revoke access to mifepristone? That's one of the things.
Sure, you could do things that would supplement, absolutely. And those things are pretty open and humane. But you have to be able to have a vote. And all I want to do is give everybody a vote. And the votes are taking place right now as we speak. Yeah. But it's there are many things on a humane basis that you can do outside of that. But you also have to give a vote. And
Massachusetts already sent out mail-in ballots. Yeah. Already. Mail-in voting.
On what? No, I think she's actually not as smart as he is. I don't think he's very smart either, by the way. I'm not a big fan of his brain. But I think that she's actually not as smart as he is.
So what do you attribute her rising in the polls as becoming a more competitive race since she's taken over?
Well, she's a woman. She represents certain groups of people. But I will say this. When people find out about her, I think she'll be much less.
Did y'all see that shit at the bottom? Ukraine launches massive attack into Russian territory.
San Francisco. She destroyed the state of California along with Governor Gavin Newsom. He's been a terrible governor.
He said Newsom.
But they did it together. And she was early. I mean, she was the first of the prosecutors, really. You know, now you see Philadelphia, you see Los Angeles, you see...
But we paying Ukraine to fight war, to just keep a war going. That's crazy.
She was the first of the bad prosecutors. She was early. Who? Would you repeat that, please? No, you. Would you repeat her, what she said? You have to speak up. This room is very louder. Do you hear her? A daily press briefing? Why would I do that? I would give you all the press briefings you want. Look what I'm doing here. But why would I do a daily press? You'd get tired of me very fast. No, but I will give you total access, and you'll have a lot of press briefings, and you'll have from me. Now, are you talking about from me or from a press secretary? Well, yeah, probably they'll do something. If it's not daily, it's going to be a lot. You'll have more than you want. Yeah, please.
Why are they acting like they don't know Trump is a good president? He already served a term. Like, people are just fucking delusional. I don't know. The psyops is strong.
I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about it. I think it's a tragic story. You want to know the truth. And I felt that with Hillary Clinton, too. You know, with Hillary Clinton, I could have done things to her that would have made your head spin. I thought it was a very bad thing. Take the wife of a president of the United States and put her in jail. And then I see the way they treat me. That's the way it goes. But I was very protective of her. Nobody would understand that, but I was. I think my people understand it. They used to say, lock her up, and I'd say,
that's why you don't protect
please.
Criminals, Trump.
We won the election. I think it would be I think it would have been horrible for our country and we had her between the hammering of all of the files. And don't forget, she got a subpoena from the United States Congress. And then after getting the subpoena, she destroyed everything that she was supposed to get. I thought it was so bad to take her and put her in jail, the wife of a president of the United States, and then when it's my turn, nobody thinks that way. I thought it was a very terrible thing. And she did a lot of very bad things. I'll tell you what, she was pretty evil. But in terms of the country and in terms of unifying the country, bringing it back, to have taken her and to have put her in jail, and I think you know the things as well as I do. There were some pretty bad acts that she did. I think it would have been very bad for our country. And a lot of my people, a lot of the MAGA, as they call them, but the base. And I think the base is 75%.
Lock that bitch up.
The Republican Party, because we're a party of common sense, and I'm a person of common sense. I want to have low taxes. I want to have strong borders. I want to have a strong military so that China and Russia, look, they've allowed China and Russia to do the impossible combined. They're natural enemies. They always have been, because China needs more land and Russia has it. They've always been natural enemies, and because of Obama, it started with him, and then Biden, because he didn't know what the hell he was doing, they've now become one force. And then now they're adding Iran to it, and they're adding North Korea to it. Pretty powerful force. This is something that is unthinkable that they allowed to happen.
And that shit is insane to think about. Wow, that's like actually really crazy.
Oh, it's going to end. The honeymoon period's going to end. Look, she's got a little period. She's got a convention coming up. It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent because I've watched her. She destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Everything she's touched has turned to bad things. I'm not going to use foul language, but everything she's touched has turned bad. She's incompetent. The reason she's not doing what I do and she's not doing what she should be doing, she won't even do interviews with friendly people because she can't do better than Biden. Now, he had a reason for not doing well, and he was never, 25 years ago, the sharpest or brightest bulb in the ceiling. That I can tell you, okay? He wasn't. But he could do interviews at least. Not lately, he couldn't, perhaps. But she should be doing interviews. She doesn't want to do interviews. And the reason she doesn't is, number one, her policies are so bad. Just to answer your question, I think that it's not going to change because it's really ultimately not about her as much as about her policies. She wants open borders. She wants to defund the police. She wants to defund the police. She wants to take away your guns. Anybody that thinks they're not going to come after your guns, you know, when I was president, I totally protected the guns. And I think it's very important. And I know I take some heat sometimes for it, but you have to have safety. You have to have, when the bad guy walks in with a gun, you got to have some way of protecting yourself. And boy, that would be, you would see crime go up at levels that you've never seen. When people say on this side of the house, this house has guns, we will use the guns, they say, let's pass. We'll go someplace else. You have to have them. And for 4 years, and, you know, as you know, the NRA endorsed me very powerfully every time I ran, every time. My sons are members, and I guess indirectly I'm a member too. but they gave me the strongest of endorsements, and that's against very strong competition. People that felt the same way. No, you have to have that right. Our Second Amendment is a very important right, and it has to be protected. Okay, how about you? Go ahead. Yeah.
To protect yourself, both
So
foreign and
there are
domestic.
some of the most brilliant people on Wall Street that are saying that if President Trump doesn't win, you're going to have a depression. I happen to agree. I think that's true. Because I know how bad these people are. You know, they like to say that they did this and that. You saw the $7 trillion that they said it was me for $7 trillion. It wasn't me. It was them. They said that I had inflation. They took over 9% inflation. No, I had 1% inflation. I had actually no inflation because if you look at the categories, we had just about no inflation. But I had a very minor, I actually had a positive inflation. It was a perfect number because you don't want zero. I mean, I'm not going to give you a whole course on economics, but you don't want zero. 1%, 1.4% is great. You want a little bit because you don't want to have deflation. Deflation is, in many ways, even worse. I had a perfect number right around the 1% number. It was perfect. And to show you, it stayed there for 2 years. And then he did all of the different borrowings that he did. And then he did so many things wrong. Every time he would do it, I'd say, big mistake. And don't forget, they sell hats and they sell stories. Trump was right about everything. I have been right about a lot. Yes, Maggie.
Where the fuck is the audio? Fox is tripping.
Well, we had a commission like other people do, and it's always complicated and it's always controversial. And we had commissions that, and I think of respected people, you know, many of the people on the commission, and they would recommend to me certain pardons for certain people. Some people were treated very harshly. A fantastic woman, as you know, she served 24 years for being on a phone call having to do with drugs. You know who I'm talking about. She was great. And she had another 24 years to go. And it was largely about marijuana, which in many cases is now legalized, okay? But we had many very highly regarded people on a commission, and they'd recommend, and they'd put a reason why. Some people were, served time, but they served a lot of time for something that today people wouldn't even serve time by. Well, for the most part, I think they did. I mean, they did. They go through. They went through. I had a commission. It was a very important commission to me, and highly respected people. And frankly, they came up with some decisions that I wouldn't necessarily agree with, but I did it. But I let a lot of people out that had no representation. I went to people in jails, in prison that we respected. I said, how many of these people should be let out? We let out large groups of low-income people that were serving like 40 years for something that today you wouldn't even be put in jail for.
Yo, that's insane.
We had very few people let out because I said I really don't want to let people out where they had a lot of violence, where they had killing, et cetera, et cetera. And for the most part, we didn't do that. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Regarding the Fed, if you win in November, do you want more of a say over the Fed on issues like the interest rate? Do you think that
On defense?
or the Federal Reserve?
Ah,
And do you think
Federal Reserve.
expanding the economy given the current leadership?
Right. Well, look, the Federal Reserve is a very interesting thing, and it's sort of gotten it wrong a lot. And he's tending to be a little bit late on things. He gets a little bit too early and a little bit too late. And, that's very largely it's a gut feeling. I believe it's really a gut feeling. And I used to have it out with him. I had it out with him a couple of times very strongly. I fought him very hard. And, we get along fine. We get along fine. But I feel the president should have at least say in there. Yeah, I feel that strongly. I think that in my case, I made a lot of money. I was very successful. And I think I have a better instinct than, in many cases, people that would be on the Federal Reserve or the chairman. Yeah.
People going to prison for marijuana.
Yeah.
Harris supports rescheduling marijuana and also says that no one should go to prison for marijuana offense. Do you agree with those positions?
Well, as we legalize it, I start to agree a lot more because, it's being illegalized all over the country. Florida has something coming up. I'll be making a statement about that fairly soon. But as we legalize it throughout the country, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's awfully hard to have people all over the jails that are in jail right now for something that's legal. So I think, obviously, there's a lot of sentiment to doing that. Yeah, please.
Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican American, and she went to a historically black college. How is she only recently deciding to be black?
Well, you'll have to ask her that question because she's the one that said it. I didn't say it. So you'll have to ask her, and I very much appreciate that question, but you'll have to ask her. But I've known her for a long time. I actually contributed to her campaign a long time ago because I was a developer. I contributed to lots of campaigns of Democrats, Republicans, and some were liberal and some were conservative. But you'll have to ask her about that. But to me, it doesn't matter. But to her, from her standpoint, I think it's very disrespectful to both, really. Whether it's Indian or black, I think it's very disrespectful to both. To me, it doesn't matter. Please, red dress.
What is the assassination? Is your ear fully recovered? Is there a scar? Do you have any
Yeah, pretty much recovered, yeah. I'm a fast healer. It's a hell of a shot, but I'm a fast healer. Yeah, pretty much recovered.
Do you have any hearing damage from it?
No, it didn't hit that. I got very lucky. It just hit the lobe, as they call it.
Is there a scar on your ear?
Yeah, a little bit, not much. On top. A little bit.
An immigration question. You've been running on the idea of mass deportation to the biggest in American history, basically.
Yeah.
When Senator Vance has been asked about that, he sort of suggested that really you only need to go after people who've been convicted of crime.
Well, we're starting that, yeah.
So what are we really talking about here? How will you pay for it?
We are going to start the largest mass deportation in the history of our country because we have no choice. It's not sustainable. And we're going to start with violent criminals, and we're going to start then with criminals. And our local police is going to work with us because they know everything about the people. They know their names. They know everything about them. They know their middle name. They know their numbers. And as you know, the other side is trying. Look, for years I wondered, why are they allowing these people to come in at levels like this? It was incredible. And I said two reasons. They're either really stupid, and I don't believe they're stupid, because anybody that can cheat in elections like they cheat is not stupid. Or the alternative, they have bad motives or they hate our country. And I used to think they hate our country. But lately I've seen where they're trying to sign these people up to vote. And they have to stop. They cannot let illegal immigrants vote in this upcoming election. All right, one more question.
Yeah, that shit would be insane, man.
Make it a good one, please.
Okay, regarding Social Security taxes for seniors.
Right.
We talked about a lot. Experts say that the policy could increase the deficit by $1.6 trillion. So how would it work for you?
We have so many ways of making money in this country. We're not going to affect our Social Security. We're not changing it. And I proved that over 4 years. And we're going to do it. It's very unfair to people. They spend their life and they're great citizens and they pay in. We're not going to charge tax to Social Security, the seniors. We're not going to do it. We're not going to charge. And also tax. I say the two things. We're going to have no tax on seniors, Social Security, and we're going to have no tax on tips. Very simple. And we are a country that has so many different ways to make money. We have under our feet more liquid gold, I call it oil, and gas, than any country in the world, much more than Saudi Arabia, much more than Russia. We have so many different ways we can make money. We're not going to hurt our seniors with Social Security, and we're not going to charge them tax, okay?
Facts. If you live that long in this shit world, you deserve to have breaks.
We should not have sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities is a way of protecting criminals, and we should not have sanctuary cities. And if you go to California, and I know it well, I have property out there, great property. If you go to California and you ask the people of California, do they like the idea of sanctuary cities? They don't like it. They're tired of it. They're tired of crime. They're tired of what's happened to our country. Our country's become a crime-ridden mess, and we're going to stop it on November 5th. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Facts.
All right, Donald Trump, they're doing over an
And I hope
hour news conference
I hope
at
ICE pay
Mar-a-Lago,
good,
and
man,
now
because I sign
walking
up.
off there. Hi, everyone.
Help
Mike
out,
Dish here.
get some
Thanks
of
so
that
much
money.
again for joining us worldwide on Live Now from Fox. And this is just a perfect example of what we do here. You had Donald Trump there speaking for an hour. Of course, we show it to you all right here live.
I wish I caught it earlier. I had to run around and do some stuff.
And of course, coming up in just a little bit, we will have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz out in Detroit, and we'll play that out from the beginning all the way to the end.
What? Kamala Harris and Tim
Walz?
Walz?
Do right here on Live Now from Fox. The commitment to you, the viewer, you are going to see it just like if you were in an event there. So if Donald Trump has 5 events in a week versus Kamala Harris's 4, we'll show them all, 5 and 4. And then if it's vice versa, 1 week, it doesn't matter. We've got you covered right here, as always, on Live Now from Fox. But Donald Trump showcasing over an hour and really putting the pressure on Kamala Harris to hold a news conference, says it has been weeks without her talking to the media or answering any sort of questions.
That's crazy,
from,
man.
The different areas.
And she ain't getting no fucking votes.
Campaigning there. So again, we will have Kamala Harris coming up in just a little bit in Michigan talking to union members. Let me know what you thought about the Donald Trump news conference. He spoke for a while, over an hour, like I mentioned, talking about illegal immigration, to the economy, and then, of course, the matter of the debates here. So here is what we know right now for the debates. There is one that has been agreed to by both parties, and that is the ABC September 10th one. Right now, the other one's up in the air still. Fox News for September 4th and NBC for September 25th there. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on those right there. Donald Trump wants to have 3 news conferences, and right now 1 has been secured by both of the parties there. So we'll keep an eye on that for you all right here, as always, on Live Now from Fox. I do want to take our first break of the hour. We'll get you ready for Kamala Harris out in Detroit talking to the UAW union members coming up in just a little bit. You are watching Live Now from Fox.
Wow. Like a small ass room. Yeah, like a small ass room. So was it just 2 minutes until they go to it? Cause I sit on here if it's just 2 minutes. If she start doing all that cackling shit, doing that laughing and not really answering questions shit, I'm letting you know now I'm getting off of this shit. Cause I'm already tired of seeing her. And I just see her scrolling my fucking timelines on X. That shit is crazy though. I can't believe that, like, she's a Democrat nominee and didn't get any votes. That shit still blows my mind. And they scream democracy like every fucking day, every second on the hour. But then they don't allow anybody to challenge her, man. That shit is crazy. I think they blackball. What's that dude named Dean Phillips? He went to a MAGA rally and was talking to people and came back and interviewed them. Like, man, yeah, those are some great people. They just have different views. Well, I think the Democrats canceled his ass immediately. I haven't heard nothing about that guy. And I think he probably had like the best chance. Now, if you see somebody like Dean Phillips, he was like the typical Democrat that I thought. You know, Obama, not even gonna lie. The first time Obama ran, I voted for him because he was a black guy. Hey, what am I gonna do? Lie about it? Yeah, I voted for him because he was black. Worst fucking decision I ever made. Worst political voting decision I ever fucking made. I know, you know, my vote didn't make much of a difference per se, but just me knowing that I voted for this guy. And secondly, because I voted for him, like, why I voted for him. The dude is a complete, like, he helped bring in the destruction of this country. Well, it's probably been now, because he pushed he pushed America to a new radical heights. That's what I say. New radical heights. Before then, it was just, you know, in the destruction stage, George Bush and all his shit going on, 9/11s, Hurricane Katrina's, a whole bunch of other crazy shit, you know. He was just in decline. See what they talking about now.
NBC debate. We are still waiting to see if Kamala Harris will agree to Fox News for September 4th and NBC for September 25th. Trump has agreed to all three of these debates.
Oh, we knew,
We're just waiting now on Kamala Harris's
Donald J.
team
was.
for the September 25th
Not
and
scared to talk.
September 4th one.
Intelligent
right now.
people
All
not
right,
scared
while we
to show
wait,
up and
for
debate.
Kamala Harris to speak out in Michigan.
And that's
Let's go
anybody
on
that got
to
intelligence.
the Pentagon briefing, the latest one that happened just moments ago.
In Annapolis. During a series of productive and substantive discussions, Secretary Austin and Secretary of State Blinken met with their Australian counterparts, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Defense Richard Marles and Minister for Foreign Affairs Penny Wong, to further strengthen the U.S.-Australia alliance and the cooperation between our two countries in the Indo-Pacific region and globally. The leaders also reaffirmed that the unbreakable alliance between the United States and Australia is essential to promoting a prosperous and peaceful region. Coming off the heels of yet another momentous trip to the Indo-Pacific region last week, Tuesday's Osman caps off a historic 2 weeks of engagements that have successfully advanced our partnerships and alliances toward a shared vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific. Among the many accomplishments discussed at Osman, I'd like to highlight just a few. The United States and Australia reaffirmed their dedication to enhancing force posture cooperation across various domains, including land, maritime, air, and space, ensuring both countries can respond more quickly and effectively in the region. Both nations also announced significant progress on co-production and co-development activities that will strengthen our advanced capabilities, bolster the resilience of our respective defense industrial bases, and ensure we're prepared to respond to regional challenges for decades to come. These efforts, alongside increased rotations of U.S. forces to Australia and expanded trilateral cooperation with Japan, exemplify the deepening resolve and steadfast commitment of the United States and Australia to our shared strategic goals. For more information, you can find a joint statement and the fact sheet regarding yesterday's Osman on the DoD website. Tuesdays. Separate but related, as we work to bolster strategic partnerships abroad, Secretary Austin and Deputy Secretary Hicks remain deeply committed to accelerating the department's defense innovation, development, and acquisition here at home. In remarks delivered at the NDIA Emerging Technologies for Defense conference yesterday, Deputy Secretary Hicks outlined the progress the department has made over the last 4 years in driving the sustainable change and innovation necessary to ensuring our armed services have the capabilities on hand to meet our geopolitical moment. Her remarks, as well as a fact sheet outlining the department's lines of effort toward innovation and modernization, are available on defense.gov. And jumping in a very different direction once more, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the tremendous success Team USA has displayed at the Olympic Games in Paris, which will officially conclude this weekend. This year, we had 9 U.S. Army athletes compete in the Olympic Games. So on behalf of the entire Department of Defense, we want to congratulate Team USA. Thanks for making us proud and for finishing strong. And of course, the entire department looks forward to cheering on 3 U.S. Army athletes who will compete in the Paralympic Games in Paris. And finally, before I take your questions, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the tensions in the Middle East, as I know many of you are interested in receiving updates. As you are aware, last week, Secretary Austin bolstered our force posture in the region to improve U.S. force protection, increase support for the defense of Israel, and to ensure the United States is prepared to respond to a various number of contingencies. The Secretary and the Department remain intently focused on de-escalating tensions in the region and pushing for a ceasefire as part of the hostage deal to end the war in Gaza. And with that, I'd be happy to take your questions. Tara, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Hi, Sabrina. On the Middle East, has the department seen any indications by Iran or Hezbollah that an attack is imminent? And besides force posture changes, are there any other development as far as getting Americans out if you need to do an evacuation?
So in terms of the imminence of any attack, look, I can't really speak to that. I certainly wouldn't speak to any intelligence. We've, of course, seen the public messaging that has come out, whether it be from Hezbollah or from Iran. And that's why the Secretary made the decision that he did to bolster our force posture in the region. And of course, our commitment to the defense of Israel remains ironclad. And I'm sorry, on your second question, do you mind repeating
Any
that?
additional, are they taking heightened security measures? I know you've moved additional forces around the region, but are they on like the highest level of security posture? And then to follow up, yesterday there were a couple of no-flight warnings issued by countries about not flying over Iranian airspace. Do you take that as an indication that an attack may be imminent?
For those, I think, equivalent of NOTAMs that were issued by other countries, I don't have anything for you on that. I'd refer you to those other countries. My understanding is some of those are routine in nature, but I'd refer you to those countries that issued that. In terms of our force posture levels, look, of course, we remain poised to respond should we need to be called for the defense of Israel. I think also in your question you had mentioned any planning for evacuation, and again, we're a planning organization. It's something that is a capability that of course we have, but right now our main focus is making sure that we're postured to make sure that our forces are protected. We're postured to come to the defense of Israel should we need to. But what we really want to see is tensions de-escalate. And you saw the secretary speak to that at his press conference on Tuesday, the need for this hostage deal to go forward,
Man, the Pentagon need to find all that missing money. If they're not talking about that shit, I don't want to hear shit coming out of that place. Find all them fucking billions they keep losing.
Members were injured total. I believe we got 7 service members and contractors were injured, but has that number gone up since? And how many have returned to duty? How many are still seeking treatment?
Yeah, no, thanks, Liz, for the question. So initially, our assessment was that it was 7 personnel that were injured. That was our initial report. It is actually 5 service members that were injured in the attack. After conducting a post-strike analysis, we determined that 4 service members and 1 contractor was actually injured in the attack. The other 2 received, very minor injuries and returned to duty right away. And again, it was 2 personnel initially thought to have been injured during the attack, but were screened by medics, and after that attack were immediately returned to duty. In terms of the status of the other personnel, 3 of the 5 injured personnel have been transferred to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany for additional treatment. The remaining personnel, the one service member and contractor, have returned to duty and are in the region.
And can you explain what exactly happened? Was it 2 rockets that impacted the base? Or, how was this able to get past the U.S. protective?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So it was 2 rockets launched by what we believe to be an Iranian-backed Shia militia group that impacted Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq. There was a 3rd rocket that was intercepted before it impacted the base. In terms of how these rockets got through, look, that's something that CENTCOM is going to review and is reviewing right now. We want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And so CENTCOM is going to adjust and take the proper measures needed to protect our forces in the region. But I don't have more to share right now. Idris.
Can you provide us an update on Ukraine's incursion into Kursk? Is that consistent with, is that consistent with the United States' sort of understanding of what Ukraine can and cannot do with U.S. weapons?
Now, this is what I want to hear.
Thanks for the question. So yes, it is. It is consistent with our policy, and we have supported Ukraine from the very beginning to defend themselves against attacks that are coming across the border and for the need for crossfires. So they are taking actions to protect themselves from attacks that are coming from a region that are within the U.S. policy of where they can operate, our weapons, our systems, our capabilities. In terms of this actual operation that's ongoing in the Kursk region that you've referenced, I'd refer you to the Ukrainians to speak more to that. We are getting more information, but really it's for them to speak to their own operations.
So is the policy then essentially wherever they see an attack emanating from, or?
If we can't speak on it or don't know nothing, why the fuck we sending them all that money? If we don't know shit and can't speak on nothing that's going on, why are we sending them all our money? The fuck?
I'm not going to put a specific range on it, as you know. They are aware of the U.S. policy and what we are supportive of. I think from the very beginning, we are supportive of Ukraine and their success on the battlefield. But as the dynamics have shifted on the battlefield, they've been able to actually push the Russians back further into Russian territory. But as they see attacks coming across the border, they have to be able to have the capabilities to respond. And so you're seeing some of these cross-border counter-fire measures that they're being able to take that are near the border of Ukraine. We don't support long-range attacks into Ukraine. We've said that from the very beginning. I'm not going to draw, a circular map here for you of where they can and can't strike, but we've been very clear with the Ukrainians. Janie.
Thank you, Sabrina. Two questions on the North Korea and Ukraine.
Sure.
First question, as you know, North Korea's Kim Jong-un announced that 250 new tactical ballistic missile launchers have been deployed to the front lines. What impact do you think this will have on the U.S. and South Korea missile defense system?
Thanks, Janie. So I haven't actually seen that announcement, but any type of actions that further destabilize the region and what we've seen from the DPRK, it's actions just like that continue to hurt relationships in the region, further destabilize the region. But I don't have anything specific on that report.
Threatening to Korean Peninsula, but the U.S.
Yeah, I don't have anything more specific to add to that.
Second question, it was reported that North Korea armored vehicles was found at the battlefield in Ukraine. Is North Korea-Russia military cooperation actually taking place after the military treaty between Putin and Kim Jong-un?
So I think what we've seen is a deepening partnership and cooperation between the DPRK and Russia. And we've been very clear about our concerns of that deepening alliance, along with Iran as well, supplying munitions and capability to Russia as they continue to wage an illegal and unlawful war against their sovereign neighbor.
As they send money to Ukraine and weapons.
That you referenced, I candidly have not seen that report, but we know that the DPRK is providing military assistance to Russia. What I can say is what we're focused on. And what we're focused on is making sure that Ukraine has what it needs to be successful on the battlefield. You've seen us roll out presidential drawdown authority packages, pretty consistently. We're going to continue to do that. And of course, Ukraine has the backing of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group that the Secretary convenes almost monthly. And I think that is a strong showing of support from the United States and countries, like-minded countries all around the world for Ukraine. Yeah, Joe.
Thanks. Back to Liz's question.
Sure.
On that strike or attack, so the Secretary said, I think a couple days ago that no attacks, or the U.S. won't accept any attacks on its personnel in the region. We saw a couple attacks on U.S. forces in the last couple weeks. We haven't seen the U.S. respond to any of those. We saw a self-defense strike on July 31st, and then this strike came. So can we expect a U.S. response?
We always reserve the right to respond at a time and place of our choosing. I'm certainly not going to get ahead of the Secretary or any decisions that he makes in conjunction with the President and the National Security Council, but we always reserve that right, and we will take measures that we need to ensure the protection of our forces.
Just one more on the self-defense strike on July 31st. Is there any additional information that you can share in terms of if there were any, if anybody was killed in that strike? Because there's been reports that there were actually some Houthi members or fighters in
These
Iraq.
pistachios banging.
I would refer you to CENTCOM for more details on that strike.
Just one last
Sure.
one on Gaza. Has the department seen a day after plan yet from its Israeli counterparts for a day after plan in Gaza?
That's something that we continue to urge for with our, with the Secretary's calls with Minister Gallant. We continue to urge to see, what does planning look like when the war ends. It's not something that I'm going to get into details on from here, but it's something that we are always communicating with the Israelis on, whether it be from here in this building or from throughout the interagency. It's something that we're very mindful of and want to make sure that there is a plan in place for when this war ends. And I think getting to your larger question here, the best way for a plan to be put into place is we need to see this ceasefire deal come to fruition. We need to see, hostages come back to their loved ones. That's the best way in ensuring the next step forward to move forward what a transition plan looks like.
You're urging them, but have you seen a plan from them?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to provide more this time. Yeah.
When it comes to
I'm sorry, I don't think I know your name.
John Hendren with Al Jazeera English.
Nice to meet you.
When it comes to a potential attack by Iran or its affiliates on Israel, is the U.S. force posture purely defensive? Is it possible offensive capabilities would be used? Are there limits?
Our force posture within the Middle East, especially when it comes to, protecting our forces, coming to the defense of Israel, is defensive in nature. And you saw from the very beginning, on October 8th, when the Secretary directed the USS Ford Carrier Strike Group to move to the region, and then a few days later also directed the Ike to move to the region. What you're seeing now is bolstered force posture that has evolved over time as, engagements in the region have gone on. But everything that we're doing is defensive in nature, including Operation Prosperity Guardian, that is continuing to engage very dangerous threats and missile projections from the Houthis on an almost daily basis. That is a defensive coalition in nature. It is there to protect commercial shipping through the Red Sea, through the BAM. That's exactly what our forces are doing there.
Might that change if...
You're watching live now from Fox, everyone. As the Pentagon briefing continues, we do want to take another 2-minute break before Kamala Harris and Tim Walz out in Detroit. We'll be back in just 2.
Wow. So the Pentagon has their own version of Kareem Jean-Pierre. Wow, nasty word. Because every time she got asked a good question, she never answered the good questions. That's what they teach them. Never answer the good questions. And then she had the nerve to sit there and say, yeah, it's wrong for so-and-so to give weapons to Russia and do all this other shit. Like, excuse me. Their allies are going to help them like y'all are doing, giving all this money and weapons to fucking Ukraine. Like, the American government's ego is fucking insane. So insane. These people are such narcissists. Disgusting.
As always, coming up in just moments, we will have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz out in Detroit speaking to UAW members. As soon as that happens, we'll play it for you from the beginning all the way until the end. In the meantime, do want to show you out in Georgia, the Georgia GOP coming together to talk about Donald Trump. Let's listen on Live Now from Fox.
Elementary schools, to watching his cities burn during the riots, failing to call out the National Guard on a timely basis. It's really just incredible. But I want to introduce at this time our Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, one of the leading voices on behalf of President Trump and our vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance. Governor Jones.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here, and good to be here at the Republican headquarters here in Georgia. Really want to compliment Josh McCoon and his team on what they're doing here in the state of Georgia for this upcoming November election. They are really leading the pack as far as what they're doing with volunteer networks and people who are getting the making voter contacts. I have 12 offices now opened up here in Georgia, are leading the way as far as voter contact and doing really a good job for us as a party and will do us well for this upcoming November election. So I do want to thank them for all their hard work. Josh, y'all doing a wonderful job. You know, the VP Harris introducing the Governor Walz as her running mate, I think is a good thing for the Trump folks, because he's a tax and spend liberal from Minnesota. He is somebody who is not tough on crime. In fact, he's not going to be tough on border. He has been, like I said, a tax and spend governor there in Minnesota, and I think it gives a clear contrast between what Trump and Vance are offering for this country, which is lower taxes, a secure border, and a really strong, forceful hand on the world stage.
All right, everyone, that was from just a little bit ago, but we do want to take you now back out live here to Detroit, where we are moments away from Kamala Harris to be speaking to UAW members. So let's listen in on live now.
All right, UAW family. You know, it's great to be here at Local 900. What we say historic Local 900, because this is ground zero for a stand-up strike 11 months ago. I'm very proud, on behalf of the UAW, Region 1A,
look at that stolen valor,
and all of our membership, to welcome Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim
Look at that stolen valor.
To our house, to Labor's house. And we thank them for choosing one of their first visits with workers to be in the house of the UAW. You know, I don't have to say this. I think you already know this, but what's at stake in this election? It's very simple. Everything is at stake.
Look at this fucking dude. He look like he's not even supposed to be there.
Whether we continue forward or whether we go backwards.
Let's go back, bitch. And then we'll create a new route.
That's right. You know, this is a which side are you on moment. And the choice cannot be any clearer.
What?
On one side, we got the Harris Walz team.
Yeah. Child molestation, open borders, fentanyl crisis, fucking crime, record crime.
Kamala Harris
the fuck is this dude
us.
talking about? One of us. Yeah, because she ain't one of us,
Governor
bitch.
Tim Walz is one of us. You know, they're working
Stolen
class
valor.
people. They have working class roots. They know struggle. They know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. You think about this.
What?
Vice President Harris talked yesterday about how she's had a first job at McDonald's. Governor Walz has been a school teacher. We've seen what this government, what the Republican Party in particular, has done to education in our lifetimes. You know, that's the difference. They've spent a career serving other people.
Bitch, check the fucking students, check the student testing scores. We have the dumbest kids in history right fucking now.
We got the Trump-Vance, what I call the Trump-Vance disaster. We know who Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are. Their words and their actions and their body of work tell the entire story, and they tell everything we need to know. They spent their lives serving themselves, representing the billionaire class, and enriching themselves at the expense of the working class.
What the fuck is he talking about?
You know,
Anybody know what he's talking about?
Donald Trump calls me stupid.
Because you clearly are. The
And you
fuck?
know why? Because he thinks auto workers are stupid. But we're not stupid. We don't fall for Trump's alternative facts, or what we all call lies.
Oh my God. Who the fuck is this
isn't about
clown?
opinions. This election's not about party politics.
Oh, it's not about
All
party.
we have to do is look at
What?
these candidates in their own words and actions. That's all the facts we need. And that paints a very clear picture of which side the candidates are on.
How the fuck can he
You
sit
look
up
at
here
Trump
and just
in the
talk crazy
recession.
like this and actually
He blamed
believe
auto
this
workers
shit?
for what was wrong with these companies.
The fuck?
And we all know
This shit is
damn
so
well,
weird.
It wasn't the auto workers to blame. It was banks that went out of control with a mortgage situation. And that threw our economy in chaos. It was not the workers. In 15, he talked about doing a rotation of our jobs out of the Midwest, our good-paying jobs, somewhere else where they pay less money. So we'd be begging for our jobs back for less. 2019, when he was president, plants were closing. GM was on strike for 40 days, and Donald Trump was missing in action.
Bitch, he don't run GM.
In the 2023 Big Three strike, in our stand-up strike, he was nowhere to be found except when he called one of his billionaire buddies and went to a business, a non-union business here in town, and paid people $20,000 to hold up signs saying auto workers for Trump. The man's a con man.
Are they campaigning
Now you
on
look
what
at
the
the
fuck
body
they
work of
doing or
Vice
Donald
President
Trump, bro?
Harris,
Like,
Tim Walz. You know, Vice President Harris bet on the auto workers.
how?
In the 2019 strike at GM, you know who was on the picket line with striking workers? Kamala Harris was. She stood shoulder to shoulder with our members. She helped, as vice president, create auto jobs in the United States of America to bring work back here. Those, yeah.
Yeah. You see, look, he don't
The
even believe that
Lordstown Assembly
bullshit.
workers who were left behind by Donald Trump, Kamala Harris was part of the solution. They brought a battery plant to Lordstown, Ohio, and those workers that were left behind in Lordstown that were transferred all over the country, now they're returning back home to Lordstown because of her.
This shit is
She
so
worked with
weird.
us to save a community in Belvedere, Illinois that was written off for dead. You know, in the 2023 Big Three stand-up strike, you know where Governor Tim Walz was? He was standing on the picket line with striking workers, too. You got two people up here that have stood on the picket line with striking UAW members. That's a place Donald
This
Trump will
dude
never
is so
be.
fucking weird. Look at him, man.
Governor Walz is also a proud union member. He's a teacher.
Look at his face. He's so fucking weird,
You
bro.
know,
Like,
Anyone
what's
can be
going
your
on?
friend when the sun's shining and things are going great. But you find out.
Let me cut this dickhead off for a second. Yo, this shit is so weird that they can sit up here and just like tell themselves this weird shit. And just look at their facial features and shit. Like, these are too fuck. I've never fed into the reptilian conspiracies going on, but damn it, we might be at a place. Because by her neck, it gives just reptilian. And him, he look like the frog people.
But we will remember the silence of our friends. And UAW family, this is not a time to be silent.
All 10 of them people clapping.
This is not a time to sit back and hope for the best. This is our generation's defining moment. Everything is at stake. Future generations are at stake here. whenever we needed help, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz answered the call, and they picked a side. They chose to show up, and they chose to stand up. So now it's our turn to stand up, to speak up, and to show up for them. You know, in the UAW, we moved mountains in the last year and a half. And I got to tell you, when I got elected president a little over a year and a half ago, we had 90 days to prepare for Big Three bargaining. And we did, and in 90 days, we won.
That's right.
We went to organize Volkswagen in the South, a place people said we couldn't win. In 100 days, we filed for an election, and we won. And as of today, we've got 89 days. We've got 89 days to ensure that we put Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the White House. We won, and we're going to continue to win because we stand up together in solidarity. There's a reason UAW begins with the word united, because that's the key to winning. So UAW family, are you ready to stand up for the Harris-Walz ticket?
Man, it's like 7 people in there.
Are you ready to speak up for the Harris-Walz ticket? And are you ready to show up for the Harris-Walz ticket? I know you are. So UAW family, it's time to go to work. And it is my ultimate honor to introduce Governor Tim Walz.
Wow. Well, thank you, Mr. President. The American worker has no greater friend than you and your members. Thank you for what you do every single day. And to the sisters and brothers here in this spot, as a union member, thank you for the privilege. This is holy ground for unions, Local 900. And to be here and know, for any union member understands what this place stands for and what it means. And so thank you for having me here. And to each and every one of you, thank you for the privilege of walking that picket line with you last year. Thank you for allowing us to lift up our voices. And in Minnesota, the work that you did, it didn't just benefit UAW workers, it benefited all workers. So I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and couldn't be prouder to stand with UAW. Think about this. 89 wake-ups. I've been saying this. 89 days. We can do anything for 89 days. Telling people sleep when you're dead. We got work to do. Right now, 89 days to make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States.
Ultimate cringe.
Look. Yay.
This shit is so cringe.
Think about this leader that's very simple. She stands on the side of the American people and the American worker. She's the one who took on the predators, the fraudsters, the transnational gangs, and she's the one that stands up against the billionaires in the corporate greed that bring to it. This is who it is. And she has a long record of delivering for union members, and organized labor. All right, everybody in this room knows, and I keep saying this, this is a bit of preaching to the choir, but the choir needs to sing right now. The choir needs to sing. We know that unions built the middle class. The rest of America has to. You know who doesn't believe that? Donald Trump. He sees
I knew
the
it was
world
coming.
entirely differently. And it
I
really
knew it was
starts with
coming.
this when I look at community and neighbors and unions and the word that Sean said, unity. This guy doesn't know the first thing about unity or service.
Talk about yourself, though.
He's too busy serving himself. Again and again and again, you've seen it.
Policy.
He put himself above us. He weakened our country to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws. He sows chaos and division. That says nothing about how he dealt with his president. We lived through it. We lived through it. He froze in the face of COVID, and our neighbors died because of it. And by doing nothing about COVID, he drove this economy into the ground. And I want to be very clear about this, because there's a lot of lies.
Yo, this fucking guy is a real stupid son of a bitch.
When Donald Trump was president.
Violent crime was up.
Without even counting his crimes, it was still up. It was still up. So this is very simple. You know it, and it's going to take a heck of a lot of hard work, but this election is a simple choice. What direction and what's our country going to look like? What direction are we going in? You know it. We've said it. Donald Trump's going to take it backwards. We aren't going back. We're not going back.
Yes, we are. In the direction you talking about, we definitely are.
We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. Look, and this thing of playing dumb while he sits on the planes with these billionaires and says I don't know anything about Project 2025. I just fly on the planes with them. You know what it's going to do? One of the goals of that, plain and simple, and they know this has been going on forever. Get rid of labor unions and get rid of the voices that we bring. They can do whatever the hell they want then. If Trump returns, he's going to learn something from the last time. He didn't get the job done. This time, it will be far, far worse, and he will get the job done and make sure that we can't organize collectively to improve our lives. That's what it's coming. So whether he cuts the middle class, makes it more difficult.
Does this stupid son of a bitch not know that Democrats are destroying everybody's fucking lives?
The things that you know they talk about.
The fuck is he talking about?
And Medicare.
Stupid son of a
When you got
bitch.
$1 billion, you don't give a damn about your Social Security check. But if you're like my mom and you depend on the Social Security check as your sole income, it's pretty damn important.
If you're a rich governor, why is your mom dependent on Social Security?
Across this country, no matter what.
What the fuck?
Now look, damn right it is, and I don't know why this is so simple or so difficult for these people to understand. You know how things work really well in life and really well with your neighbors and really well in communities? When you mind your own damn business, things work better. Stay out of our business. Stay out of our business. He's not fighting for you. He doesn't know you. He doesn't care about your family. And his running mate is just as dangerous and backward as he is. So look, we know who they are. The choir's ready to sing. This campaign's about the future, your future. Vice President Harris sure knows that. She grew up in a middle-class family. She goes to work every day making sure
the
families
fuck
are
outta
in the
here.
front so that they can get ahead and they can get into the middle class. She believes in something so simple and so beautiful. And when we go to these rallies, I say it too. People drive, they sit in the sun, they get there, they stand next to their neighbor for one simple reason. And just like the vice president says, they believe in their hearts in the promise of America. They believe it. They believe it. So, sisters and brothers in the
They want you to just believe. They don't want you to live it. They don't care what you see with your fucking eyes. They just want you to believe.
The next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Dog shit.
To be in the House of Labor. It is good to be in the House of Labor. Thank you. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Okay, so let me just say, first of all, can we hear it again for Tim Walz? Isn't he spectacular? You know, I have to tell people have been asking, well, what do you and Tim Walz have in common? I said, well, you know, a whole lot. You know, we grew up the same way. We grew up in a community of people, you know, I mean, he grew up in Nebraska. Me, Oakland, California.
Canada,
seemingly
bitch.
Worlds apart. But the same people raised us. Good people. Hardworking people. people who had pride in their hard work, you know, people who had pride in knowing that we were a community of people who looked out for each other. You know, raised by a community of folks who understood that the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up.
Amen.
Who did she steal that from? I've heard that from from somebody. Who did she steal that from?
In our country in the last several years, where there's a suggestion that somehow strength is about making people feel small, making people feel alone. But isn't that the very opposite of what we know unions know to be strength? It's about the collective. It's about understanding no one should ever be made to fight alone. That we are all in this together. You know why I fought my entire career for unions and labor? Because I understand the concept and the noble concept behind collective bargaining. And here it is. Here it is. Fairness.
Yeah.
Fairness. It's about saying, hey, in a negotiation, don't we all believe the outcome should be fair? I mean, who could disagree with that? The outcome should be fair. It should be fair, right? But when you're talking about the individual and a big company, and you're requiring that one individual to negotiate against a big company, how's that outcome going to be fair? So collective bargaining is about saying, let the collective come together.
This bitch got me about to fall asleep.
A common experience, which at its core is about dignity and the dignity of labor.
That's right.
And then let the people come together to negotiate so you make the balance. And then the outcome will be fair.
What the fuck is this bitch talking about?
We're saying we just want fairness. We want dignity for all people. We want to recognize the right.
You're
all
vice
people
president
have,
now.
Freedom and liberty to make choices, especially those that are about heart and home, and not have their government telling them what to do.
Like how y'all try to make us put that shit in our arm and make us stay in the house like we couldn't go outside.
We see the people
and make us put shit over our mouths that obstruct our breathing, and like y'all did on the babies too.
We are a nation of people who believe in those ideals that were foundational to what made us so special as a nation. We believe in those ideals. And the sisters and brothers of labor have always fought for those ideals. Always fought for those ideals. And we know we are a work in progress. We haven't yet quite reached all of those ideals, but we will die trying because we love our country and we believe in who we are. And that's what our campaign is about. We love our country. We believe in our country.
They love America enough to flood it with illegal immigrants that's killing Americans.
We believe in the collective.
They believe in killing us all with fentanyl.
For these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart. That's not where the strength lies.
Like, how many different words is she gonna use to say the same shit?
And there is that. And so I say to all the members of UAW, and Shawn Fain is the first who I talked to about this, I am so deeply honored as a lifelong supporter of union labor for Tim and I to have the endorsement of UAW. So deeply honored. Because you walk your walk. You walk your walk. And what we know, like we have talked about, we got 89 days to get this done. You know, the one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. The thing that
but what the fuck did you do during your whole vice presidency? You didn't do a fucking thing, bitch.
Because we know what we stand for. And that's a big part of this campaign. You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. We know what we stand for, and we stand for the people. And we stand for the dignity of work. And we stand
Yeah, they
for
stand
freedom.
for people, just not Americans.
We stand for justice.
Not the American people.
We stand for equality. And so we will fight for all of it. And the bottom line about UAW is that I also know, and I'll say to all the friends watching, look, even if you're not a member of a union, you better thank unions. That 5-day work week. You better thank unions for that 8-hour work day. You better thank unions for that vacation time.
5-day work week. 8-hour work day. Motherfuckers is working more than that. What is this bitch talking about?
Sisters and brothers of UAW for all you are and all we will do over these next 89 days. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. We're gonna get this done.
All right, there we go. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in Detroit, Michigan, and of course, battleground state there, Michigan. But this all coming as Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were really going to these different battleground states. We saw it happen yesterday, where they were in Wisconsin, and starting tomorrow.
That shit was so garbage.
Arizona as well, and we'll continue to bring you that coverage right here.
That shit was so garbage.
Live now from Fox, everyone. So just like,
wow, that shit was like ultimate fucking cringe. Like, do they not? Who do they have working for them? Do they have no scripts and none of that shit? Or they just freestyle that? She definitely took some notes because she made a couple quotes right there that I done heard from other people. I just can't pinpoint it right now. But how fucking cringe is that? You notice she made sure to keep it short. You get that bitch to talking too much, she gonna destroy her own campaign. And they know it. But how disgusting though, man. How disgusting. Half of the shit they said they was talking about was just Donald Trump. Couldn't speak on policy and all that. Quit speaking on Donald Trump. Tell us what the fuck you're about. You know, brag about something in your past. Tell us about your policy that you think is so great for America with the fucking shit that we going through now. Bitch ain't say nothing about closing borders. She ain't say nothing about the fentanyl crisis. She ain't say nothing about, well, she ain't gonna, when she speak on abortion, she just gonna talk about how she just wanna like genocide babies. So I don't even want to hear the bitch speech on that. She tweet about it every day. But like, she hasn't speak on none of the real issues, man. Look at the economy. That's my number one thing, economy. Like, when you run a small business, how the fuck do you expect to make money when nobody has money to spend with you? If everybody is broke, who the fuck is spending money with the small business? Please tell me. Only the corporations and shit get government subsidies and kickbacks. And the banks getting bailed out. When the fuck does government bail out small business? No, they just let you crash and fucking burn. Like, this shit is disgusting, man. They don't talk about none of the real policy. But want to hate on Trump. Trump gets straight to the meat. What are you talking about? Everything, every issue, straight to the meat. We doing this, we doing that. No tax on tips. No tax on old people, none of that. No tax on their Social Security, none of that shit. Which, why are you taxing people's Social Security any fucking way? How weird is that? They tax you every way they can. Like, y'all even tax your Social Security? Disgusting. This country needs a whole fucking overhaul. And I'm for it. Like, this shit is crazy, man. And then we got to sit here and listen to these fucking lunatics. Like, who the fuck wants to listen to these people just talk they bullshit? Like, just back to back to back to back to back. Who wants to hear that shit? Like, I can go to a fucking elementary school talent show and they make more fucking sense on stage. Like, Democrats definitely didn't take winning this seriously. They just knew they were fucked from the start. They went too deep into corruption. And they can't back out now. That's why you see them pulling like the Raskin, that dirty, filthy, scummy bastard. That probably fake cancer here and there wearing bandanas and all this other shit, looking goofy as fuck. Like you couldn't just put a hat or something on your fucking head. Like, bro, dude is a cornball, but they know they're too deep in corruption. They can't back out. They know that Trump gave him a break the first time. I don't even see why he gave Hillary Clinton a break. He said, oh, it'd be terrible to lock the wife of the president. Man, fuck that guy. He's already been caught what he had to pay one of his like sexual assault victims all this fucking money and stuff. Like, he's a piece of shit. Why are you sparing him? Especially a nasty evil bitch like Hillary Clinton. That bitch doesn't get spared. Did she spare any fucking body? Will she spare anybody? I doubt it. Like, this shit is crazy. Quit showing mercy to people who fucking hate America and want the worst for all of us. Quit fucking showing them mercy. The fuck? These people are criminals. Terrorists. Domestic terrorists. They're not even criminals. They're domestic terrorists. And they want to take away guns. No. These protect us from threats, both foreign and domestic. Which means y'all getting on that real authoritarian shit, you will get blown the fuck down. And that's a constitutional right. It's up to you how you perceive it, but that shit is written down, bitch. Screw it how you want it. But if they think they're going to go and just totally take over America and just break us the fuck down, man, look. This should be nastier than the Civil War would ever be. Because we have a constitutional right to protect ourselves from threats, both foreign and domestic. And our enemy right now is domestic. You know, Russia, China, them doing their thing, whatever that little alliance they putting together over there, like that super team Justice League shit they got going on is definitely spooky. But they're not the real enemy. The real enemy is in our government right now. Congress and in the House. Like, these fucking Democrats are the enemies of America. They're communist pieces of shit. They don't believe in no democracy or none of that. Like I said earlier, they didn't even give nobody a chance to run against Kamala. That bitch wasn't elected to do nothing. They gave her the nominee. Just like when Biden was running through it. Man, they cut off everything. North Carolina refused to give Democrats a primary. I think a couple other places refused to have primaries for Democrats. Because they just automatically gave their bid to Biden. How the fuck can you do that? The people decide that. All these Democrat governors, like, people gonna wait. Don't let it be too late to where nukes is falling on your fucking head and ain't shit in the grocery stores and motherfuckers is pillaging and robbing like the purge. Don't wait till it get that bad to be like, oh shit, this is getting out of hand. This is crazy. It is gonna be too fucking late. Y'all better go research bunkers. These rich people got fucking bunkers. They can live in up to a year. You know, and they protect you from, I think, up to a fucking nuclear strike or something crazy. So, your po ass better make good decisions in this election and upcoming elections throughout your lifetime. In your best interest. You know, you can sit here and say, oh, with the billionaires, yeah, a lot of them fund a lot of this bullshit too. And the donors and the politicians that work for the donors, yes, a lot of that shit too. But at the same time, those people are taken care of, so you better make sure you making the best decisions for yourself. Because it's not as many of them as it is as us regular people. But man, this shit is crazy. And then you got these lunatics on stage. Oh, this is a clear choice. Oh, the choice couldn't be any clearer. What the fuck do you mean? The Walz dude should have brought his glasses or something. Because I don't think he was looking at them choices the right fucking way. I know he's going for a self-campaigning because him and Kamala Harris get to run around campaign, get all their money, get all their donations, and even when they lose, they get to keep the money. So I know he running to get rich, even though he probably already is. I don't know why he brought up his mom getting a SSI check, but I gotta look up his net worth. Let me see this dude net worth. Tim Walz network. No, they're trying to downplay his fucking network. I ain't subscribing for that shit. Governor Walz running mate. 330,000 net worth. I don't believe it. Democrats are too corrupt for him to be only worth 300-something thousand. I'm pretty sure they gave him a nice little bonus package for just running with the bitch. But even if it is, I don't know, even if it is that low, fuck him. Talking about his mom, SSI, check out this other garbage. He gonna keep all that money from campaigning knowing they're gonna get fucking brutally defeated. But who knows, man? The shit they did in Georgia that just came out with over the million ballots and all this other shit, and then the ones getting rescanned, nasty work. Who knows where that took place at in other places? But who knows how hard they're gonna go this election? Because, you know, like Trump said in his speech earlier in Mar-a-Lago, people who can steal elections like them definitely aren't stupid, you know. They definitely have to be really smart to do the shit that they doing and steal elections like they stealing. You can't be no slow leak doing shit like that. They have some very smart, manipulative, narcissistic fucking people working for them. Yeah, that's crazy.
Will be consequences, and there was no new wars when he was president. So those are going to be the focuses that we have.
Did Trump make an unforced error by attacking Kemp and maybe especially Marty Kemp?
Well, you know, I always like when I,
this shit is crazy.
Back to how I run campaigns.
Yeah, well, about to go find me some dinner because I can't eat late. Oh, man. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to find me some streaming time, start streaming on it more. But, man, this shit is just garbage, man. Garbage. They made that shit. They made sure the Walz dude did most of the talking and brought that little giggly bitch out for like 3 minutes. Nasty work. Well, I'll be back on here later, guys. Y'all seen it like I seen it. I'm out.